On a quiet Tuesday morning, the world changed forever. Dr. Sarah Chen sat at her desk in the SETI Institute, sipping her third cup of coffee. Her eyes were glued to the computer screen, watching the usual stream of data from deep space. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the office. "What's going on?" her colleague, Dr. Tom Rodriguez, shouted from across the room. Sarah's fingers flew across the keyboard. I don't believe it," she whispered. "We're receiving a signal. A real signal." Within hours, the news spread across the globe. Governments scrambled to respond. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Social media exploded with theories and fears. Humanity held its breath, waiting to learn what the aliens wanted. 3 days later, the message was decoded. It came from a group calling themselves the Galactic Coalition. They claimed to represent over 1,000 advanced alien species. Their words were not what anyone expected. "Greetings, primitive humans," the message began. "We have observed your species for many of your Earth years. We find you lacking in almost every way. Your technology is crude. Your societies are chaotic. Your understanding of the universe is limited." People around the world watched their screens in shock as the message continued. The aliens said Earth was not worthy to join their coalition. They saw humans as little more than smart animals. Some coalition members even suggested wiping out humanity to make room for a more deserving species. But there was a catch. The Galactic Coalition had rules. They couldn't just destroy a sentient species without giving them a chance. So they offered Earth a challenge. "We will present you with a problem," the aliens said. "One that has puzzled our greatest minds for centuries. If you can solve it within 1 Earth year, we will reconsider your status. If you fail, you will be left behind as we continue our exploration of the galaxy. You will be forgotten." The world's leaders met in secret. They argued about what to do. Some wanted to ignore the aliens. Others wanted to fight. But in the end, they agreed. Earth would accept the challenge. Dr. Chen found herself at the center of it all. As one of the first to detect the signal, she was chosen to be part of Earth's response team. She stood nervously before the United Nations, explaining what she knew. "The aliens will send us the details of their challenge tomorrow," she said. "We don't know what it will be, but we must be ready for anything." A delegate from a small country stood up. "How can we compete with beings so advanced?" he asked. "They've already said we're primitive. What chance do we have?" Sarah took a deep breath. She thought about all the times in history when humans had faced impossible odds. She remembered stories of underdogs who triumphed against powerful enemies. "We have something they don't expect," she said firmly. "We have human creativity. We have determination. Throughout our history, we've solved problems in ways no one thought possible. The aliens think they know us, but they're wrong. We will show them what humanity can do." Her words sparked a fire in the room. Leaders who had been arguing moments before now nodded in agreement. A sense of purpose filled the air. Humanity would face this challenge united. As Sarah left the UN building, reporters swarmed around her. "Dr. Chen, what do you think our chances are?" one shouted. She paused, looking at the crowd. Cameras flashed. The world was watching. Sarah smiled confidently, even though she felt scared inside. "The aliens think they're testing us," she said. "But really, they're giving us a chance to test ourselves. Whatever challenge they give us, we'll face it head-on. Humanity has never backed down from a challenge before. We're not about to start now." As night fell over New York City, lights blazed in offices and labs around the world. Scientists, engineers, and thinkers from every field prepared for what was to come. Tomorrow, they would learn the nature of the alien challenge. Tomorrow, the fate of humanity would be in their hands. The clock was ticking. Earth had 1 year to prove its worth to the galaxy. 1 year to show that humans deserved respect. 1 year to save themselves from being left behind in the cosmic dust. The greatest test in human history was about to begin. The next day, screens around the world lit up with the alien transmission. Dr. Sarah Chen and her team gathered in a high-tech room at the United Nations headquarters. They held their breath as the challenge was revealed. Your task, the alien voice boomed, is to create a device that can safely contain and control a microsingularity. Confused looks passed between the scientists. Sarah's colleague, Dr. Tom Rodriguez, whispered, "They want us to build a tiny black hole machine." The alien continued, "This technology is crucial for advanced space travel and energy production. Many species have tried and failed to perfect it. You have one Earth year to succeed where others could not." As the transmission ended, the room erupted in chaos. Scientists argued about whether it was even possible. Politicians demanded to know what a microsingularity was. Sarah's mind raced, trying to grasp the enormity of the task. "Quiet," a voice shouted. It was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a renowned physicist. "We need to break this down step by step. First, let's understand what they're asking." Over the next few hours, the team discussed the challenge. A microsingularity was like a very small black hole. It could provide nearly unlimited energy and revolutionize space travel. But it was incredibly dangerous. One mistake could destroy a planet. "The aliens think this is impossible for us," Sarah said. "But that's because they don't know what humans can do when we work together." The UN quickly set up a global task force. The best scientists from every country were called in. Engineers, physicists, and even science fiction writers were asked to contribute ideas. No concept was too wild to consider. Weeks passed. Progress was slow. The team worked day and night, but they kept hitting walls. Traditional physics said what they were trying to do was impossible, but they refused to give up. One day, a young Indian physicist named Arjun Patel had an idea. "What if we look at this differently?" he asked. "Instead of trying to contain the singularity, what if we create a field that constantly reforms it?" This sparked a new direction of research. Teams around the world began experimenting with exotic materials and quantum fields. They made small breakthroughs, but time was running out. 3 months into the project, disaster struck. An experiment in a lab in Geneva went wrong. The proto-singularity began to grow out of control. Scientists watched in horror as it threatened to swallow the entire facility. But then something unexpected happened. The singularity suddenly collapsed in on itself and vanished. The team was baffled. They studied the data for days, trying to understand what had happened. It was Sarah who finally figured it out. "Look," she exclaimed, pointing at a graph. "The energy field didn't fail. It oscillated in a way we didn't expect. It's like the singularity was breathing." This accidental discovery opened up new possibilities. The team realized they had been thinking too rigidly. They needed to work with the nature of the singularity, not against it. As word of their progress spread, the world watched with hope. But not everyone was happy. Some alien observers seemed worried. They hadn't expected humans to get this far. One night, as Sarah was working late in the lab, she noticed something strange. The data on her computer wasn't making sense. She dug deeper and found traces of interference. "We're being sabotaged," she realized with a shock. Someone, or something, was trying to derail their efforts. Sarah called an emergency meeting. "We need to be careful," she told the team. "It looks like some of the aliens don't want us to succeed. They're trying to stop us." This news only made the team more determined. They increased security and double-checked everything. The sabotage attempts continued, but the humans adapted, finding clever ways to protect their work. As they neared the halfway point of their year-long deadline, the team had a working theory. They had designs for a device that might just work, but building it would push the limits of human technology and cooperation. "We can do this," Sarah told the world in a global broadcast. "But we need everyone's help. This isn't just a challenge for scientists. It's a test for all of humanity. Together, we can show the galaxy what humans are truly capable of." The race against time continued. Humanity faced its greatest challenge yet, But with each passing day, the impossible began to seem just a little more possible. As the project entered its 6th month, the pressure was mounting. The team had made progress, but they were still far from a working solution. Dr. Sarah Chen knew they needed a breakthrough, and fast. One day, while taking a rare break, Sarah watched her niece playing with soap bubbles in the park. The little girl laughed as she created bubbles inside bubbles. Suddenly, Sarah's eyes widened. "That's it," she exclaimed, startling nearby pigeons. She rushed back to the lab, her mind racing with new ideas. The next morning, Sarah called a meeting. "We've been thinking about this all wrong," she told the team. "We're trying to build a solid container for something that isn't solid. What if we use layered fields instead? Like nested bubbles?" Dr. Rodriguez scratched his head. "Bubbles? For a black hole?" "Not literal bubbles," Sarah explained. "But the principle is similar. Multiple layers of energy fields, each one supporting the others." The team was skeptical, but they were willing to try anything at this point. They started running simulations based on Sarah's idea. To everyone's surprise, the results were promising. As they refined the concept, they realized they needed materials that didn't exist yet. Regular metals and plastics couldn't handle the extreme conditions. This is where human creativity really began to shine. A materials scientist from Kenya suggested using spider silk as a model for a new super-strong fiber. An engineer from Brazil proposed a way to 3D print structures at the atomic level. A teenager from New Zealand, who won a global ideas contest, came up with a method to use quantum entanglement to strengthen the fields. Ideas poured in from around the world. The project wasn't just for scientists anymore. Artists contributed designs that inspired new ways of shaping the fields. Gamers suggested user interfaces for controlling the device. Even poets and philosophers were consulted, their unique perspectives leading to unexpected insights. The alien observers were baffled. They couldn't understand the humans' approach. It seemed random and chaotic to them. But slowly, piece by piece, a solution was coming together. There were setbacks, of course. Early prototypes failed spectacularly. One test caused a blackout across half of Australia. Another accidentally teleported a lab rat 2 seconds into the future. The rat was fine, just very confused. But with each failure, the team learned. They adjusted, adapted, and kept pushing forward. The human ability to learn from mistakes and think outside the box was proving to be their greatest strength. As news of their progress spread, the world became more invested. Children made models of the device out of clay and popsicle sticks. Street artists painted murals showing humanity reaching for the stars. A pop song about micro-singularities somehow topped the charts in 37 countries. This global enthusiasm fueled the team's efforts. They worked around the clock, fueled by caffeine, and the determination to prove humanity's worth. 8 months into the project, they had a breakthrough. During a test, they successfully created and contained a micro-singularity for 3.7 seconds. It wasn't long, but it was proof that their idea could work. The alien coalition was stunned. Some members began to show grudging respect for human ingenuity. Others seemed worried. The sabotage attempts increased, but the team was ready for them now. Sarah addressed the UN again, her eyes bright with excitement despite her exhaustion. "We're close," she said. "We've shown that it's possible. Now we just need to make it stable and controllable." A representative from a small island nation raised his hand. "But Dr. Chen, even if we succeed, will one device be enough to impress the aliens?" Sarah smiled. "We're not just building a device," she replied. "We're proving a point. Humans don't just copy what others have done. We find new ways to solve problems. We work together and achieve the impossible. That's what will really impress them." As she spoke, labs around the world were lighting up. The final push was beginning. With less than 4 months left, humanity was racing towards a future they could barely imagine. The stars suddenly seemed much closer than before. With just 3 months left until the deadline, humanity's hopes were high. The team had made incredible progress on the micro-singularity containment device, but as they prepared for their biggest test yet, disaster struck. It was a quiet Sunday morning when alarms blared throughout the main research facility. Dr. Sarah Chen rushed to the lab, her heart pounding. She found chaos inside. Sparks flew from damaged equipment. Researchers ran back and forth, trying to contain the damage. What happened? Sarah shouted over the noise. Dr. Rodriguez pointed to a smoking machine. We were running a test, and suddenly everything went haywire. It's like the laws of physics stopped working for a second. As the team assessed the damage, they made a chilling discovery. This wasn't an accident. Someone had sabotaged their work. Crucial components had been replaced with fake parts designed to fail. The news hit the team hard. Months of work were lost. Even worse, the sabotage had erased much of their data. They were back to square one, with only a quarter of their time left. World leaders held emergency meetings. Some wanted to accuse the aliens of cheating. Others thought it was time to give up. The challenge seemed impossible now. But Sarah refused to accept defeat. She called a meeting of the entire global team, connecting with scientists around the world via video. I know things look bad, she said, her voice firm. But we can't give up now. Humanity has faced setbacks before. It's not about how hard we fall. It's about how we get back up. Her words sparked a fire in the team. They had come too far to quit now. If they had done it once, they could do it again, and faster this time. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Scientists worked around the clock, rebuilding and improving their designs. Security was tightened. Every component was checked and double-checked. But it wasn't just the scientists who stepped up. When word of the setback spread, people around the world rallied to help. A group of students in Brazil organized a global brainstorming session, connecting millions of people to share ideas. Retired engineers came out of retirement to offer their expertise. A famous billionaire donated his entire fortune to fund the project. In Japan, an old woman who had survived World War II sent the team her lucky charm. You carry the hopes of all humanity, her letter said. We believe in you. These gestures of support kept the team going through long nights and frustrating failures. They weren't just working for themselves anymore. They were working for everyone on Earth. As they rebuilt their work, the team made improvements. Ideas that had seemed too risky before were now worth trying. They took shortcuts they wouldn't have dared attempt earlier. Desperation bred innovation. 2 months before the deadline, they were ready to test again. The whole world held its breath as the machine powered up. At first, everything seemed to be working perfectly. The containment field stabilized. The micro-singularity formed. For a moment, it looked like they had done it. Then, without warning, the singularity began to grow. Alarms blared as it threatened to break free of the containment fields. Shut it down, someone yelled, but Sarah held up her hand. Wait, she said, staring intently at the readings. Look at the field harmonics. They're fluctuating, but in a pattern. I think it's trying to communicate. The team watched in awe as the singularity pulsed and swirled. It was like nothing they had ever seen before. After 10 tense minutes, the singularity stabilized on its own. When they analyzed the data, they found something amazing. The containment field hadn't just held the singularity. It had formed a symbiotic relationship with it. This unexpected discovery opened up new possibilities. It wasn't just about containing the singularity anymore. They could work with it, shape it, perhaps even communicate through it. As news of this breakthrough spread, hope returned. The alien observers were visibly shocked. This was beyond anything they had imagined humans capable of. With renewed energy, the team entered the final stretch. They had suffered a major setback, but emerged stronger. Now, with just weeks left, they were closer than ever to their goal. The greatest challenge was still ahead. But for the first time, victory seemed truly possible. Humanity had proven its resilience. Now it was time to show the galaxy what they could really do. With only 3 weeks left until the deadline, the pressure on the team was immense. They had made incredible progress, but the micro-singularity device was still unstable. Dr. Sarah Chen and her colleagues worked tirelessly, trying to solve the final puzzles. One evening, as Sarah was leaving the lab, she bumped into Zara, a young janitor. Zara was humming a tune while mopping the floor. "That's a nice song," Sarah said, trying to be friendly despite her exhaustion. Zara smiled. "It's an old lullaby my grandmother taught me. She said it's about the rhythm of the universe." Something clicked in Sarah's mind. "The rhythm of the universe," she muttered. "That's it." She rushed back to the lab, startling her tired colleagues. "We've been trying to force the singularity into our rhythm," she explained excitedly. "But what if we listen to its rhythm instead?" The team was skeptical but willing to try anything. They began to analyze the pulses and fluctuations of the micro-singularity, looking for patterns they had missed before. To everyone's surprise, they found a complex rhythm hidden in the data. It was like a cosmic heartbeat, steady but always changing. "It's beautiful," Dr. Rodriguez whispered, staring at the waveforms on the screen. Sarah nodded. "And I think it's the key to stabilizing the containment field." They worked through the night, adjusting their equipment to match this newfound rhythm. As dawn broke, they were ready for another test. The team gathered around the containment chamber, hearts pounding. Sarah took a deep breath and activated the device. At first, nothing seemed different. The micro-singularity formed as it had before. But then, something amazing happened. The containment field began to pulse in sync with the singularity. "It's working," someone shouted. The room erupted in cheers as the reading stabilized. For the first time, they had achieved perfect containment. The micro-singularity was under control. But Sarah wasn't satisfied. "We've done what the aliens asked," she said, "but I think we can do more." Over the next few days, the team pushed their discovery further. They found they could not only contain the singularity but interact with it in ways they had never imagined. They discovered that the singularity could be used to send messages faster than light. It could generate enormous amounts of clean energy. It could even bend space in controlled ways, opening up possibilities for revolutionary space travel. As news of their success spread, the world celebrated. People danced in the streets. Children launched homemade rockets, dreaming of the stars. For the first time in history, the whole of humanity was united in triumph. The alien observers were stunned. Many of them had believed humans would fail. Now, they were watching humans master technology that had baffled their best minds for centuries. With a week left before the deadline, Sarah and her team prepared their presentation for the Galactic Coalition. They worked hard to make sure even the most advanced aliens could understand the brilliance of their solution. On the night before the big day, Sarah couldn't sleep. She went up to the roof of the lab and looked at the stars. Tomorrow, humanity would take its place among those distant lights. She thought about everything that had led to this moment. The setbacks, the hard work, the moments of despair and flashes of inspiration. She thought about Zora's lullaby and how the simplest things could lead to the greatest breakthroughs. Most of all, she thought about the incredible things humans could achieve when they worked together. They had taken an impossible challenge and turned it into a triumph. As the first light of dawn appeared on the horizon, Sarah smiled. Whatever happened next, humanity had proven itself. They had shown the galaxy that Earth was not a planet of primitives, but a world of innovators and dreamers. The stars no longer seemed so far away. In fact, they looked like they were welcoming humanity home. The day of the presentation arrived. Dr. Sarah Chen and her team stood before a massive holographic screen, ready to address the Galactic Coalition. Billions of humans watched from Earth, holding their breath. As Sarah began to speak, the alien faces on the screen showed a mix of curiosity and doubt. She explained their journey, the challenges they faced, and how they overcame them. Then, she revealed their breakthrough. "We didn't just contain the micro-singularity," Sarah said, her voice steady. We learned to communicate with it, to work with it as a partner. The team demonstrated their device. They showed how it could generate clean energy, send messages instantly across vast distances, and even create small, controlled wormholes for space travel. As the presentation went on, the aliens' expressions changed. Doubt turned to surprise. Surprise turned to amazement. By the end, many of them looked shocked. When Sarah finished, there was a long silence. Then the alien leader spoke. "Humans," it said, its voice echoing strangely. "You have surprised us. We did not believe you capable of this achievement. We were wrong." A murmur ran through the alien council. Some looked excited, others worried. A few seemed angry. One alien, with shimmering blue skin, spoke up. "This is unprecedented. Humans have not only met our challenge but exceeded it. We must welcome them into the galactic community immediately." But another alien, tall and spindly, disagreed. "They are still too young, too unpredictable. This technology in their hands could be dangerous." Debates broke out among the aliens. Some argued that humans had earned their place among the stars. Others feared what humans might do with their new knowledge. Sarah and her team watched nervously. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. After what seemed like hours, the alien leader raised a hand for silence. It turned to address the humans again. "Your achievement is remarkable," it said, "but it has also created a dilemma for us. We must discuss what this means for the future of our coalition and your place in it." The transmission ended, leaving Earth in suspense. For the next few days, the world was on edge. People gathered in city squares, watching the skies. Scientists worked frantically, trying to understand more about their discovery. World leaders prepared for every possible outcome. Sarah found herself at the center of it all. Reporters asked for her opinion. Children looked at her like a hero. But she felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "We did what we set out to do," she told Dr. Rodriguez one evening. "But what if it's not enough? What if they still reject us?" Rodriguez put a hand on her shoulder. "Whatever happens, we've proved what humanity is capable of. They can't ignore that." On the fourth day, the aliens contacted Earth again. This time, their message was broadcast to every screen on the planet. "People of Earth," the alien leader began. "Your response to our challenge has forced us to reconsider many things. You have shown ingenuity, determination, and a unique way of thinking that we have not seen before." The world held its breath as the alien paused. "We have decided," it continued, "to extend an invitation to humanity. You will be granted probationary membership in the Galactic Coalition." Cheers erupted around the world. In New York, Tokyo, Lagos, and countless other cities, people poured into the streets to celebrate. But the alien wasn't finished. "However, this membership comes with conditions. You will be closely monitored. You must prove that you can use your new knowledge responsibly, and you must continue to surprise us." As the message ended, Sarah felt a mix of joy and apprehension. Humanity had won its place among the stars, but the real challenge was just beginning. She looked at her team, seeing the same emotions on their faces. They had achieved the impossible, but now they had to prove that humanity deserved its new place in the galaxy. The journey to the stars had only just begun. In the months following humanity's acceptance into the Galactic Coalition, Earth underwent a remarkable transformation. The world united in a way never seen before, driven by the excitement of joining an interstellar community and the responsibility that came with it. Dr. Sarah Chen found herself at the forefront of this new era. She led a team of scientists and diplomats, working to integrate human knowledge with alien technology. It was a challenging task, but Sarah's ability to think creatively continued to impress both humans and aliens alike. 1 year after the breakthrough, Earth hosted its first interstellar conference. Alien ships filled the skies, a sight that once would have caused panic, but now inspired wonder. In New York City, humans walked side by side with beings from distant worlds, sharing ideas and culture. At the conference, Sarah presented Earth's latest innovations. She showed how humans had adapted the micro-singularity technology for medical use, curing diseases that had once been thought incurable. She demonstrated new forms of art that used gravity waves to create stunning, multi-dimensional masterpieces. The aliens were amazed. One delegate, a being made of swirling gases, approached Sarah after her presentation. "We have existed for millions of years," it said, its voice like a whistling wind. "Yet in just 1 year, you humans have shown us new ways of looking at the universe. How do you do it?" Sarah smiled. "We're curious," she said simply. "We never stop asking questions, never stop trying to improve things. It's just who we are." As Earth's influence grew, so did its responsibilities. Humans were called upon to help solve problems across the galaxy. Their unique perspective often led to solutions that the older alien races had overlooked. In one case, 2 alien species had been at war for centuries over a chain of resource-rich planets. Human diplomats suggested a shared mining operation, with profits split equally. This simple idea, obvious to humans but revolutionary to the aliens, ended the conflict. Earth's cities began to change. Towering spires of alien design rose next to classical human architecture. Overcars zipped between buildings while teleportation stations allowed instant travel across the globe. Yet among all this advanced technology, parks and nature reserves flourished, a reminder of humanity's connection to their home world. Not everything was easy. Some alien races remained wary of humans, seeing them as unpredictable and potentially dangerous. Earth had to navigate complex galactic politics, learning when to stand firm and when to compromise. There were also challenges at home. Some humans feared losing their identity among the stars. Others worried about alien influence on Earth culture. Sarah and other leaders worked hard to find a balance, preserving what made humanity unique while embracing their new role in the galaxy. 5 years after joining the coalition, Earth faced its greatest test yet. A massive solar flare threatened to destroy a nearby alien civilization. The coalition's best scientists were stumped, unable to find a way to divert or neutralize the flare. In a tense meeting of galactic leaders, Sarah proposed a daring plan. Using an array of micro-singularities, Earth would create a temporary wormhole to divert the flare into empty space. It was risky, never attempted on such a scale before. The coalition was hesitant, but with no other options, they agreed. The whole galaxy watched as human ships, aided by alien allies, raced against time to set up the device. At the crucial moment, Sarah gave the order. The wormhole sprang to life, a swirling vortex of cosmic energy. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed like it might fail. Then, with a flash visible across light years, the solar flare was sucked in and diverted harmlessly away. The alien civilization was saved. Humanity had proven itself not just as innovators, but as protectors. In the aftermath, Earth's status in the galaxy soared. Humans were no longer seen as newcomers or underdogs, but as valued members of the galactic community. They had faced the ultimate test and triumphed. As Sarah looked out at the star-filled sky from her office in the New Earth Space Center, she felt a sense of pride and wonder. Humanity had come so far in such a short time. They had not just reached for the stars. They had taken their place among them. The future stretched out before them, full of endless possibilities, and Sarah knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them with the same creativity, determination, and spirit that had brought them to this moment. The galaxy would never be the same again, and neither would Earth.